Good morning and welcome to another video. As you can see over my shoulder, I'm sure, I'm down a tiny little river. This is the Warwickshire Stour. Now I've come down here because the Avon is only just returning from the fields. We've had a huge flood on the Avon. I actually went out with the drone and did some videos over on the other channel. If you want to have a look at that, I'll stick a link up there and down there. But yeah, it's been quite bad. So really that's out of action at the moment. Hopefully in a few days, with no more rain forecast, hopefully we can get down there. We've not fished the Avon for ages. Fortunately, this little river's dropped a lot faster. This has had a big flood as well. It's been right in the field. It's been a couple of metres up from where it is now. But it's dropping off lovely to coincide with a cold snap that we've had. It's freezing this morning. Literally, I've just crunched through the field. Now, I haven't got too long this morning. I've got till 11, half 11 pushing it. So it's 8:30 now, so we've got 3 hours top, so we need to get a lick on. I was hoping to go to a different stretch and do some trotting this morning. That was my first thoughts, having looked at the gauge, the hot river level gauge. However, I just had a look down there at this other stretch and it just looks too coloured to me. There's about, I would say, 6 to 9 inches of visibility. So what I've done is I thought today we'd go on the ledger. I think that'll be better off today. And then I'll come out in the morning. I can get out again in the morning and hopefully it'll drop to a little bit, cleared a little bit, and we'll be able to do some trotting tomorrow. That's the plan at the moment anyway. Right, I'm not going to waffle today. We need to get a move on. What I'm going to do is bait up a few swims. Very simple tactics today. I did bring my ledger gear just in case, and the appropriate sort of ledgering baits just in case this was the case, and it clearly is. So what I've done, I've got some mash bread here. So I'm going to bait up a few swims. We've got a little bit of a slack in there, and I do know from experience it's quite deep in the edge here. It's a good sort of 5 or 6 foot down there off those reeds. So what we'll do, we'll bait up a few spots like this with some mash bread, and then we'll get fishing. Very simple bait today. I've got some bread for the hook. I've got some cheese paste, and I've actually bought a little bit of meat, a little bit of luncheon meat with me, just in case we fancy a change. But really, I think I'll stick to the bread if I can, because we've got a chance of a nice roach then as well. Now, unfortunately, I left my worms at home, which was a bit daft for a reason I'll fill you in on in a minute. But for now, let's go and bait some swims up, and then they can be resting whilst we get fishing in the top swim up there. This is one of the more productive swims on this stretch. We've got a slack on the far side over there. It looks at a lovely height. Got a slack over there. A bit further than that. That's better. I'm not going to put too much in, because my mate Mick was out on this river further down yesterday morning. And he lost one little chub, and that was it. So I don't think they're massively hungry. So as I say, we're not going to put too much in. That's plenty. 2 or 3 walnut size bits of very stiffly mashed bread. Right, let's crack on. Oh, blimey, it's bitey cold today. Now, as you probably gathered, we're targeting the slacks today. A few familiar slacks I know that are going to be here in this height of water. Just because I know the fish love the slacks when this river's pushing through. So that's the reason we're targeting the slacks. I think 4 will do. There's one I noticed the other day just along here, so we'll go and bait that one as well, and then we'll get cracking. Now I'll fill you in on what happened the other day shortly, but as I say, I did notice this slack in here, right down there. Put a little bit more in. That's plenty. Right, we'll leave this to rest. We'll go and fish that previous swim. There's more chance of a quick bite in there. I'll fill you in on what happened. So gear wise, I've got my Daiwa Power Mesh 12 foot £1.25 rod, GSB RLT 3000 reel. I shall stick all the information on all this gear down in the description below if you want to go and have a look. Exactly what I'm using. I've got my standard running ledger rig on here. Now, I made a video about how I set this up. It's nice and adjustable. As I say, I made a video of how I've set this up, so if you want to go and have a look, I'll link you in up there and down below. God, my finger's like ice. Proper cold this morning. Thought I was going to have to scrape the car, but I didn't, surprisingly. But all the grass is frozen. Right, as I say, we're going to go and bread. That's going to be our main attack, I think, today. Just see if we can winkle a fish out. This stretch hasn't fished particularly well this year. The only other person I know who fishes it is my mate Mick, who I mentioned earlier. And he's not done too well either. I'm not sure what's going on here. I do get some fish out. The odd fish. Not had anything of any size either, to be honest. No, what I've got to do in here, as you can see, I'm going to fish that slack on the far side. So we need the rod up in the air to keep the line out of this really fast water. So we'll get over there. We'll perhaps have 20 minutes in each spot and just see if we can winkle anything out. I've got 1.5 ounces on there. Hopefully that'll hold. God, I think it's frozen up. Handle. Now, I did mention I'd fill you in on what's been happening since you last saw me. Well, I came to this stretch about 4 days ago, I think it was. Something like that. Because it was kind of the end of the mild spell. We could see this colder temperatures were coming. The river had dropped off just about enough to make it fishable. It wasn't low by any means. It was still fairly high. I would call it floodwater fishing, really. Or very high water fishing. It was high and brown. But I thought I'd come out and give it a go. Just, as I say, the cold water, because I could see the cold weather was coming, and also there was some rain due the following evening. And it was like 6 degrees when it rained, so I knew it was going to chill the river, because the river's about 9. So I came out and had a few hours, did these same swims. And I fished a swim just along there that we've just baited that day, which is the first day I noticed that particular slack. I think I noticed it because the river was a lot higher. And we had a chub out of there, I don't know, 12 ounces or something, not very big. Fished a few other swims on the way up. We fished the pool in the middle where we baited today as well. And I had a chub out of there, I don't know, pound and a half, something like that, not particularly big at all. But what was noticeable was they were both really fat. And the second chub I caught up there, he had a couple of worms in his mouth, or down his throat. So they've clearly been having a really big feed up during the flood. I'm guessing that as obviously the fields flood, the worms come out of their holes to try and get some air. And the fish were just hoovering them up. So I did think I thought that day we'd do pretty well. But yeah, it was a struggle. And it may well be the case again today with this colder conditions, a couple of frosts. There was a frost last night as well. So it may be tricky going. No, nothing doing in there. We'll have a move. Well, hopefully we can do a little better in here. Couldn't do much worse. We didn't even have a bite in that one. And it's usually good for a bite, that last swim. The world is waking up. The noise is starting. It was so peaceful half an hour ago. Alright. I think we're getting some taps. Alright. Looks very much like we are. We're in. We are in. Can you believe it? I'm surprised. Thought it was going to be really hard going today, but we've not been in this swim long. God, it's being very dogged. I'm sure it's a chub. Very funny bite if it's a chub. Cool. Putting up a right old scrap. Oh, this is a chub. Well, wouldn't be anything else really in this river, fighting like that. But, whoa, wow, that's absolutely wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, what was I saying about this stretch? Not kicking up any specimens after cracking fish in this little river. Absolutely wonderful. Over the moon with that. Really, really pleased. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Right. We shall keep him down here in the hope we can winkle out another one. That's a proper fish. Certainly a proper one from this stretch. God, blimey. Off a tree coming down the river. Right. As I say, let's see if we can have another one. That was quite quick, so we've got a chance of another one. Usually in this river though, it's one and out, but we'll see. As I say, it was a very funny little tappy bite. Hang on, I had a dump again then. That's pretty quick. That's just been the feeder settling. We're fishing just near this bush here, which is creating this slack behind it, as I'm sure you can see. Alright, that was a pull. Some chub down here by the looks of it. Yeah, we're getting some rattles again already. Can't believe it. Looks like we've hit a shoulder chub. Right, I think I'm going to call it a day there. I've had a few little taps since we had this fish, but nothing concrete, so we'll get this fella back and we'll get moved. Back you go, chap. Right, we're going to have a move. No, nothing doing. Surprisingly in that, it's usually a pretty good bet for a bite, but I think it's a reflection of the day really, rather than the swim. I'll go and see if we can find a fish that does want to munch. I'm sure there's some in there, but they're clearly not interested. Right, this is the last of the pre-baited swims. We'll have 5 or 10 minutes in here. Again, I think that'll be long enough to know if we're going to get a bite. And then we'll perhaps go and try a couple more swims on the way back to the car. we're running out of time now. It's gone 10:15. I need to be home within in about an hour, really. There we go. Right, we'll drop this in there. I'll put that bait in. Just down there. Yeah, there is some depth in there, as I remembered. I don't fish this swim that often, but it sometimes kicks up some nice fish. We'll see. It's one of those swims that's very hot and cold. Got this lovely tree here, you can see down there. Get out of the way. But what we've got is a real pinch point, as you can see in front. And often this is out the water, this bit. So there's a real narrow pinch point, so it's quite deep in there. Gets scoured out. Let's just adjust that where you get the rod a lot further down than that. That's better. Right. See if there's anyone in there. This is one of those sometimes swims. Sometimes you get a bite, sometimes you don't. It's quite boily in here, I'm not sure. There'll be any fish sat down there. Worth 5 minutes though to find out. I mean, the immediately obvious place to cast is obviously under that raft there. But the thing with that is the water's ripping through there. I think that's the place to cast when we've got some normal levels. Alright, someone's after me. But I think in these sort of conditions, fish are not going to want to sit in that turbulent water. They may well be tucked right under the tree in the roots. I think it's just too turbulent to swim today. Alright, said that, we just had a knock. That was a definite knock. There we go, we're in. Well, what was I saying? Be too turbulent in here? Well, that's cracking. Fantastic. He's, of course, trying to get us in all the reeds. He's achieved it, I think. I might have to go down and get him. Ah, there he is. Well, he's no monster, but he has got us in all the reeds. Fortunately, we've got a long landing net handle. Cracking. Number 2. Wonderful. Well, what do I know? Just as I was saying, it was a bit too boily. Cracking stuff. That's wonderful. Right, I'm going to get him straight back. We'll get moved to some of the swims further down. I don't think it's worth hanging about in here. Generally, as I say, generally on this stretch, it's one fish and you're done. Right, back you go, chap. Cracking. As I say, it's usually 1 and out in this stretch, so we won't hang about. We'll go and see if we can drop on another fish. Right, I'm going to call it a day there. Nothing else doing. We fished our way back to the car. Can't even get out of the water. Yeah, nothing else. What's it been in these last 3 swims? Nothing doing at all. So I'll call it a day. That's just gone 11 and time to go home. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to try and get out and do some trotting in the morning. That's the intention. That's the plan. This river will be good for it, I'm sure. I should keep an eye on the height. I'm sure it's going to drop overnight. It's only dropping very slowly, but it's on the verge of it now, being trottable. So I'm sure it will be tomorrow. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I've certainly enjoyed today. It's been that's been very enjoyable as well. I really did think after, as I say, my friend Mick, who fished further downstream yesterday, had one little chub that fell off and no other bites. I really thought it was going to be tricky, and it's not been easy. It's not been easy, but I've had a couple of fish, and as I say, the biggest one I've had out this stretch, certainly this year, possibly ever, to be honest, out of this stretch. So yeah, very, very happy about that. Anyway, I'm waffling. I've got to go. Now, as I say, hopefully we'll be back out again to do some trotting tomorrow. But for today, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support, and I'll see you again, hopefully, tomorrow.